One of the things that's said here is that she would, quote, pimp out trainees and send them to either have sex with other promoters or people who were hiring them for maybe pictures or something like that. And people are referencing Luna Vachon, who unfortunately is no longer with us to substantiate some of these stories that have been out there in the past. But Shane, the thing that I find to be crazy about this whole entire story that's out there is that this is professional wrestling we're talking about here, folks. Professional wrestling. I want to see how egregious this is to you. She would, quote, hold them back if they were progressing to a possible skill that was better than her. Now, in professional wrestling, can you see that happening by anybody?
I've never in my entire career seen anybody do that except everybody. Has anybody heard my discussions about Ric Flair over the years? It's what happens in this industry, and that's what I said. When I read those links today, pretty much everything that jumped off there came out to me as being one of two things: either completely normal in this industry, normal as this industry is going to get, which is not going to be very normal. But the other parts of it, like the part of the accusation that she pimped out certain people, that's the first I've ever heard that anywhere in the industry. I'd never heard any whisper of that in the business. I've never heard anybody speak ill of Moolah in the business. And I've known her since before I broke into the business. So my question, again, I wasn't there. I wasn't a fly on the wall. I didn't have a video camera that recorded these things either happening or not happening. I just find it very convenient that when she's dead and gone, suddenly a whole bunch of people want to come out, and you can see it in those responses that were in those articles from the social medias. People, recounting the narrative that is the story, and yet none of them knew Moolah. None of them were there. So if I go up tomorrow and say, I saw wrestler so-and-so molesting children, does that mean that you just come out tomorrow and say, well, that's it, wrestler so-and-so needs to be destroyed, demonized, and sanitized from the pages of history? They don't deserve the right to make a living because Shane Douglas made an accusation. I provided no evidence, no supporting information other than Shane Douglas said. And Shane Douglas was in the business, so therefore it must be true. Boy, if that's all it takes, then boy, we're much further down the road to destruction than I thought we were. If there's evidence, bring it forward. I would never defend anything like that if Moolah did do those things. But the stuff that I read, most of them were things that were completely normal. She charged rent. She charged to be, she took a cut of the payoffs for the people that she booked. Those are completely industry standards. If you're planning on breaking into the business and you want Shane Douglas to book you and I get you booked, don't bitch if I take 5 or 10% of your pay, because without me booking you and getting you booked, you wouldn't be getting that payoff. Any of it. 0% of it. That is an industry standard. And it ain't just in professional wrestling. That's in every industry where people are taught something like this. So, the parts about she pimped people out, like I said, that is the first I've ever heard that. When I read it today, that was the first I ever heard anything like that. And again, I wasn't there. And if she did do those things, then she deserves whatever demonization she gets off of that. But again, does 2018 apply to that point, that time frame? I would find it suspicious in this sense. If she was pimping somebody out and none of them ever called authorities or recorded any information to underscore and prove what it is they're saying now, how many decades later, I find that very suspicious, because I would think that if somebody was doing that to me, and I speak to somebody that came up in this business and had a lot of wrongs done to me, but if somebody along the way was doing something that egregious to me, I would have kept a log, I would have kept pictures, I would have kept some kind of information to prove that down the road, even if I don't think anybody ever believed me, at least I'll be able to prove to myself that I was correct, that I had it right. So until I see information like that, I'm sorry if I don't just willingly jump on the bandwagon and believe somebody because they said it. Because again, like I said earlier, I've met a lot of frickin' liars in my life and in my career. And that kind of thing is just a step beyond until I see proof of it, more so than just somebody saying it. Because I've had people say a lot of things about me that were way off the mark in my career. Doesn't make it true just because Joe Blow said it.